number 8, and none other than Geddy Lee.
Hi there.
None other than Geddy Lee with me and John Donabie in the studio. I don't know if you're on there, John. Let's get all this adjusted before we get rolling too much further here.
Am I on microphone at this
Hello?
point?
Check.
Hello?
Check. Test. 1, 2. Is this on?
I just lost the hearing in my right ear.
No, I'm not.
Okay, I guess as is custom, as is tradition, we should begin the festivities
Blow the cork, Rick.
with a little bit of Mum's Mum. Are we ready?
Is that Mums?
That's
Duck.
Did Mum bring this, Geddy?
Mum's extra.
He shoots, he scores.
Yes. All right.
Good stuff.
Yes, wonderful. Okay, the new album is called Permanent Waves.
Yes,
Yes.
Waves.
You had a hard time arriving at that title, I hear.
Well, we kept picking titles, and they kept being used. You know, we had about 2 or 3 different titles, and we discovered another album that had the title, and then we just finally went, well, let's keep it. You know, we just decided to stick with the one.
On the last album, Geddy, you know, it was a bit of a concept, told quite a story, and of course, Neil was in quite a while ago to explain that whole thing. Do we see a concept here on Permanent Waves? Is each track individual within itself?
Yeah. This time was a definite move not to conceptualize. We've conceptualized on 3 previous albums for whole sides, and we thought this time it's about time for us to stretch our wings a bit and get into something a little different. Try to work with shorter time periods, you know, rather than 20 minutes. Try to do something that's 10 minutes long or 5 minutes long, something like that. So yeah, we wanted to definitely stay away from the concept.
You were in the British Isles to do some work on Hemispheres. I'm wondering where this album, was it done all here in Canada this time around?
It was all recorded here. I mean, it was written in a little place, on a little farm not too far from here, about 90 miles from here, Lakewood Farm.
Go into that story a little bit. That's
well,
really
it takes us back to the summer. We had our first holiday in a long time.
A lot of things were done differently this time around, weren't they?
Yeah, well, we were tired of going through the whole routine where you tour for 8 months and be totally exhausted and go straight in the studio, write an album, record it, mix it, you know, right coming off the road, and all under a high-pressure situation. And it was about time that we sort of went, hey, wait a second, you know, maybe we can write better if we're not tired and we don't have so much pressure on us. So we decided that we'd take a couple months off before we did the album, and in that time we'd all write little things individually. Then we all got together after about a month, and we went to this little farm and we spent 2 weeks writing, and it came really easily as compared to the usual situation, and it was a lot of fun. You know, we really enjoyed it for a change rather than having all this pressure on our heads. It was quite a relaxed way to write.
Geddy, does Neil come forth and write all lyrics on this album?
He writes all but one. I wrote some this time around.
Oh.
Yes.
Change, eh?
Surprise.
You're diversifying.
Yeah, well, I get one together every couple albums. I manage to wring a song out of myself.
Has that always been a conscious thing within Rush, or is it just taken for granted that Neil would be the mainstay on there?
Pretty much. I mean, he just has it under control, you know. And Alex and I don't really aren't that fluid with our lyric writing. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot longer for us to get something together that we're happy with. So
I know I'm getting really excited. Rick has heard this. I have not, so I'm kind of excited to hear some of this.
You want to move
Me
into
too.
it? Just before we do go into the first cut, yes, I think a toast is in order here. A toast to number 8, with many more to come, from Canada's top rock band.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Can't take him anywhere.
For the purposes of sound effects, you see, they have to know we are drinking. Okay. The Spirit of Radio is the opening track on the album.
This is right.
This is one of the 2 that you did have a chance to, or 3, I guess, that you had a chance to work up and actually try out on people on the road on a short little swing that you took late last summer, right?
Yeah, well, we only played 2 songs in the set, in the tour, which was the whole reason for doing that tour, was let's warm up before we go in the studio and try some new tunes. And one of the tunes, Jacob's Ladder, which is a longer piece, we were playing it, but not in concert. We were doing it sound check and just basically preparing it for recording.
Okay, the Spirit of Radio deals with what then?
The spirit of radio. It is what it is.
The essence of
Yes.
radio. Okay, let's roll into it then. We will wait no longer. Number 8 from Rush, the brand new album, the world premiere of Permanent Waves on CHUM-FM. 104 CHUM-FM in Toronto with the world premiere of the new Rush album, Permanent Waves. That the opening cut from the LP called The Spirit of Radio. We'll return with more in just a moment. Well, we're back. This is Permanent Waves, the world premiere of the new Rush album. Rick Ringer with John Donabie and Geddy Lee here. And we're just beginning to work our way through this 8th LP by Rush. The next track is one called Freewill.
You see.
Which was another one of those that you got a chance to write and rehearse and play live before you ever played it in the studio.
That was a real treat for us having to do it that way, because when we went to record it, we actually knew what we were doing.
How many changes, Geddy, to go through from the actual run-through by the time it's ready to put, on vinyl in the studio? I mean, were there a lot of changes, in this case, in Freewill, from its introduction to finally laying it down?
Not really. When we started writing this, it just sort of happened. It was one morning, Alex and I started putting it down while Neil was working on lyrics down the road in a little cottage. And the pieces just started to fall together. We spent about 8 hours, I guess, piecing the music together. And then once we had the feel that we wanted for it, it didn't really change much until recording.
You mentioned earlier that, this the first time in a long time that it has not really been a concept LP. And because of this case, is it easier to put together? I mean, I would think when you're looking at a concept, one long story might get kind of tedious after a while. What about something like this?
Well, it's not really easy or something more difficult. It's just different, When you're doing a conceptual thing, you have this picture or this story that's always in your head. So it's like doing a soundtrack to a film. The film is always running through your head, so you always have a point of relation, and you always have something to inspire music. You always have some kind of visual you want to capture, whether it be lyrically or musically.
Rick mentioned that a couple of times now that this is the 8th album. I'm wondering, as each album, 8 albums, I mean, are you spending more time in the studio than ever before to be a perfectionist, or are you doing, like Joe Jackson, for example, says it should be done quicker each time you go in and raw? I'm just wondering if you guys are perfectionists.
Hemispheres was an example of an album that took much too long. By the time from its original conception to the time it was finished, it was about 11 weeks.
I think that was because of the difficulty of the concept itself, because of the length of the concept?
That was partly it. The other thing was just the fact that we came with nothing. We came to the studio having nothing written, maybe 5-10 minutes of music, little bits and pieces, and we sat there and we wrote the whole thing right in the studio, and that took a lot of, heavy brain power to get that all together. So it was very difficult because we had to write it, rehearse it, and record it as if we'd been playing it for 3 months. But with this album, we had the opportunity to go out, write it, take it on the road, and actually play it for a couple of months before we actually recorded it. So it became a lot easier. And this album was recorded in exactly half the time it took us to record Hemispheres. And as far as I'm concerned, the production end of it is a lot more cleaner. And
the instrumental sounds, yeah.
It's just progressed a lot farther beyond the point we would normally be at because of that time.
Does Terry Brown, your producer, still play as an important part as he did, a few albums back today?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. He's definitely our objective ear.
Fourth ear?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really hard to put into words what he does. He's there, and he sort of, and there's a lot of things that we don't have to refer to him for, obviously, because of the years of experience, but there's still times where you just look at him and go, hey, what does this sound like? And he goes, well, this is what it sounds like.
This sounds horrible. We'll do it again.
This is terrible, throw it out. Or this is great, or whatever, But he's really invaluable as far as we're concerned.
All through the process, from the arranging, the original arranging of the songs right down to the final mix, he's there?
Yeah, he had less to do with the arrangements this time, just because I think out of experience we already know what he's going to say before he comes in the door, so we can second guess him. But it's still quite a heavy involvement. When we were writing it, he would come up for short visits at a time just to see how it was progressing and what was going on. And once we get into the studio, it's 100% 24-hour-a-day total involvement.
Okay, we'll move on to the second cut on the album now, which is called Freewill. Does this have anything at all to do with, Neil wrote the lyrics to this one too, right? Does this have anything to do with a conversation that he had, a really heavy interview conversation he had with a British journalist a while back, where politics and socialism and capitalism were bantered about and all that kind of thing. And Neil's viewpoint in the whole thing, from what I remember of it, was that free will and the capitalist way were the best, or whatever.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty
Making your own way was the way to do it.
pretty much, but it's a real big topic, and it's really hard to to get. We're not politicians, and it's really hard to get specific when you start talking about things like that. As to whether that's a reaction to that interview, I couldn't answer that. Only he could. But
Right.
I don't know.
The song
it's
is-
it's basically a statement about feelings that he has about the way he lives his life.
Okay. Free Will, number 2 now, from the new Rush album, Permanent Waves, on CHUM-FM. CHUM-FM and the world premiere of the new Rush LP called Permanent Waves. And that is Freewill, second cut from the first side of the LP. Rick Ringer and John Donabie and our very special guest Geddy Lee helping
Hi
us
there.
premiere the album tonight.
Hi. It's really wonderful to be here.
Nice to see you again, Geddy.
It's really,
You been on the road?
Thanks for the wonderful party.
Where you go from here? The instrumental
Hey.
songs you mentioned before about how Le Studio was such a new experience for you, and I can tell I've heard the album a few times now, and the instrumental songs are the clearest and most well-defined that I've ever heard on any of your LPs.
Yeah, we had a great engineer to work with, and I think it was...
Can you attribute that all just to the studio, though, or to some
Well, it's
additional expertise?
obviously it's got to come with, having done 7 previous albums and a lot of experience and a lot of knowing now when we go into a studio exactly what we want.
Do you like to experiment, Geddy, with different albums? Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Or not albums, I'm sorry, studios. What did I mean?
Oh, well, we've worked in quite a few. This is the first time we've come back to Canada in a few years now, and it's really nice to come back and work very close to home, and this studio is especially suited to us. It's similar in some respects to the way we worked at Rockfield in Wales, which was living the album 24 hours a day and getting up and having breakfast and going to work. This was a little more, I guess the scenery was a little more beautiful, and it's a little more cushiony, I guess. But it was definitely a good time to make this album.
When will you be taking this album on the road, so to speak, so that people will be able to see this live or hear this live?
Well, we start, I guess, our warm-up tour in about a week and a half now. Next week we start rehearsals for the new tour, and I think we go out Eastern Canada first, and then we head down to the States for a number of months.
Well, does your stage show change on each tour? Do you?
It does somewhat. I mean, basically it's the tunes that we like to play the most. And last tour was quite a long set. We did, I think, 2-hour and 10-minute show. This tour we're still working out exactly what's going to be, but there'll be some changes, some lighting changes, some staging changes. And
Some bands almost resent, to a certain degree, having to go way back to early material and fans scream for it. What about Rush? When people start yelling for things from the early days, do you try to appease them if you can, or would you rather put it in the past and keep it there?
There's certain tunes that have to bite the dust after a while, for sure. But we try to play a fair amount from, at least something from every album that we've done. I mean, even if it's just a token couple of tunes. And the tunes that we do start getting sick of, we just sort of pile them all together in a giant medley. And that little mini tour that we did in the summer, we had a medley of about 5 tunes that were all ex-opening tunes that we didn't know what to do with, so let's put them all together in a big medley and go wild on it. But I mean, I can understand it's not that long ago that I was a fan myself and still am, and I can certainly relate to going to a show and wanting to hear certain songs, so we do try to keep that in mind. But
That's
basically
good.
we have to move on to things that excite us.
Still going to be using a lot of projections and things on this upcoming?
Yeah, we're going to expand somewhat on that, not as much as we would hope, but we will be expanding on that.
This next tune's coming up would seem to be one that would lend itself to...
Yeah,
visuals,
we're working on that.
visuals. Yes.
This is a personal favorite of mine.
Personal favorite of mine.
Jacob's Ladder.
Jacob's Ladder, which is biblical in some respect, I guess.
Well, Jacob's Ladder is the term that they use when you're sitting there on a beautiful day and it's getting close to sunset, and if you look up and all of a sudden on a real sunny day, if the clouds start to move in front of the sun, and all of a sudden there's a break in the clouds, and you see these heavy beams of light that sort of stream down.
Is that what it's called?
That's called Jacob's Ladder, and that was sort of
Almost
very
like the lights in your stage show, yes.
Yeah, it related very
well-defined
neatly. Yeah, it was very tight.
I take it that was definitely inspired up at the little farm then when you guys were writing.
Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah, I can't remember exactly where the title and the inspiration came from, but they all sort of cultivated at the little farm.
This one musically reminds me a little bit of things like Xanadu and Hemispheres.
Oh, definitely we have our...
Mentions of the gods
Yeah.
and...
Well, we definitely have a little bit of our feet in the past in this tune, but it's a comfortable past for us, and there's a lot of really nice elements. There's a little break in the tune that is nothing but synthesizer and tinkly things, which is something we've wanted to do for a long time. So it goes through some interesting changes. There's some complex rhythmic things that we like to do. I guess it's a bit of indulgence, this tune, but we like to indulge ourselves.
I think Neil Peart and Zeus had something in common. I don't know. It's very, Neil really loves to. Zeus who? No, you know, Neil appears to, especially going back to hemispheres and so on, very much into the complexities of, I don't know, the sky and not. I was going to say astrology, but that's not the correct word. You know what I mean?
It's just the poetics of things like that. I mean, it's very dramatic.
Mythology more than anything.
Mythology. That
21st century romantic.
Really, that whole area is just great for a kind of a band like us, because you know, we like to overblow everything we do. And
how do you feel about, you know, like this is the day and age of the 3-minute song again. We talked about this once a little while ago, and Neil came up with a very good answer, I thought. But how do you feel, you personally feel, about doing a 10-minute song and maybe people going, come on, 10-minute songs, you know?
Well, I mean, you can't please everyone. I mean, we're here primarily to make music that we feel, and music that moves us, and we hope that there's enough people out there in the world that are moved by the same sort of thing. So, I mean, to say you have to do a 3-minute song doesn't really mean anything. I mean, why do we have to? I mean, it's interesting from that point of view. It's interesting to say to yourself, okay, let's see what we can do in 3 minutes, or let's see how exciting a tune we can put together in 5 minutes. But by the same token, it's nice to have 10 minutes to really work out and really get into some interesting instrumental things, which I think is very necessary for the growth of a band as musicians, which we are primarily. Number one, we are musicians, and we have to grow, and we need these, you know, little indulgences to help us grow as musicians.
Let's indulge ourselves then.
Yes.
The third song from the new Rush LP.
Have some more champagne, Rick.
The album is called Permanent Waves. The song is Jacob's Ladder. This is the new Rush LP, the world premiere on CHUM-FM.
Clouds prepare for battle in the dark and brooding silence. Bruised and sullen storm clouds have the light of day obscured, looming low and ominous in twilight premature. Thunderheads are rumbling in a distant overture. Light streams down in bright unbroken beams.
CHUM-FM in Toronto with the world premiere of the new LP by Rush called Permanent Waves. That was entitled Jacob's Ladder. And we'll be back with the second side of the album and the second bottle of champagne right after this. Now, if you can, try and describe that album cover.
Well, it's a pretty bizarre little scene here.
Certainly is.
It is the finest album cover you've ever had.
I think so,
would say,
too.
but-
Well, thank you.
Actually, I still like him. I think Hemispheres was a real breakthrough, too.
Yeah, that's a neat cover. We decided to put a woman on the cover of this rather than a naked man.
Sex sells records, yes.
Just to show that you're not chauvinist here. You
Yeah.
take both sexes and
It's sort of a Holocaust scene on the front, and amidst this confusion of all these heavy waves crashing down over.
It's a tidal
It's sort of a play on
tidal
the
wave scene,
Yeah,
right?
it's a play on the word waves, really. But there's this heavy scene, and all these waves are crashing down on this little man who's leaning against a signpost, very unawares, waving at this beautiful girl who's just about walking off the cover, and she's got a cute little permanent wave hairdo.
yes.
And every hair is in place in the middle of this heavy catastrophe.
There's a newspaper, Geddy, on the ground that says Dewey defeats Truman.
Yes.
Why that time frame? Why that particular headline?
Well, it sort of relates in an abstract way to the a wave of journalism that's sort of which was responsible for a lot of heavy waves of different sorts. I mean, the new wave was created by a wave of journalism, and this whole this whole deal of, the press jumping to this conclusion and that conclusion, and that was a very obvious conclusion that the press jumped to, the Dewey defeats Truman thing. So interesting story behind that. We were not allowed to use this. I mean, if you notice, it doesn't quite say Dewey defeats Truman. It sort of says Dewey defeats Truman.
D-E-W.
At the last minute, we found out that the Chicago Tribune was still 30 years later, very embarrassed about the mistake that it made. And it has this copy written, and they would not allow us to use that on the cover. So we had to...
I notice you've incorporated your names way back, and I just noticed this now in the backdrop of...
This is another interesting story. The Coca-Cola Company, I mean, that was a Coca-Cola sign back there, and they would not allow us to use the Coca-Cola.
You couldn't use the Coke logo?
No, they wouldn't allow us to use it, so at the last minute again, the artists scribbled our names.
So we're not going to get any "Hi, I'm Geddy Lee" for Coca-Cola commercials?
No Coke commercials, but...
Okay, it's only appropriate as we begin the second
Oh, here he
side,
goes
that we
again.
should
Watch
begin
out.
The second bottle. No, don't move back.
Don't aim it at
there.
Gord
You're moving
Johnson
right in
now.
the line of fire here, okay?
Ready?
See if I can't pick me off one
I've
of
never-
these nice new lights in our nice new studio here.
Oh! All right.
Very good.
Rick Ringer. Oh, watch out.
Oh, a little bubbly, yes.
Watch out. Oh, look at that.
Right off the top. Okay, let's roll into side two
Riche
now,
is getting loaded here,
which
folks.
is
not the
Entre
only
Nous.
one.
Entre Nous, of course, in French means
Just between us.
just between us.
And
What about it? What about the sign?
What about
what
it?
about it?
Well, it's a short song.
yes,
It's,
okay.
It was our first attempt in a while to do a nice, concise little piece of music that actually had choruses and verses and...
So that goes back to what we were talking about before,
Yeah.
about disciplining yourself and setting down to write a short
And
song.
I find it fascinating that you broke into French phrases on hemispheres, too, in various parts of the album.
Yeah, it's true. French is a international language, really.
And of course, you had a very
sounds-
good time in Paris
Yeah,
when
we-
you were there.
I sure did. But French sounds poetic. It sounds so poetic.
Beautiful language.
Yeah.
You know, it really works to express some things that...
And if I can say this, Rush is not thought of generally as a romantic or intimate band. Usually, I mean, it's very, very tough, very hard on stage. I mean, but yet, when one sits down and listens to your albums, it's fascinating. I think that the complexities of your lyrics perhaps are a lot softer than some people might think of.
Yeah, well, we have our sensitive side, I guess.
Yes.
And, I mean, we just try to, use that as texture, I guess. And
Yeah, let's listen to it.
Well, like we were saying before, Neil is very much a 21st century romantic or whatever.
Aren't we all?
yes.
He's okay.
Have another sip of
Side
champagne.
two.
Rick. Lay down.
Side two of Permanent Waves. This is the world premiere of this new Rush album on CHUM-FM, and the song is called Entre Nous.
Life a novel no one else has read, even joined in bonds of love. We link to one another by such slender threads. We are planets to each other, drifting in our orbits through a brief eclipse. Of us a world apart, alone and yet together like two passing ships. Just between us, I think it's time for us to recognize recognize. The difference is we sometimes fear to show just between us. I think it's time for us to realize the spaces in between. Leave room for you and I to grow.
CHUM-FM and the world premiere of Rush's new LP, Permanent Waves, with a song called Entre Nous,
Oui.
or Between Us,
Oui.
which seems a very proper preface, prelude, whatever, to the second song on the album, which is called Two of Us.
No, it's not.
Different strings.
Different strings.
You okay, Rick? You ready to pop you up a little bit?
Let me see that. Let me see that album jacket.
Okay, here you are, Rick. It's all right.
I guess because
Rick's not well.
The chorus is
Two, yeah,
the
it's
Two of Us.
right.
Yeah. This is the one you wrote, didn't you?
Yes, I wrote the lyrics to this one.
How do you feel about that, Geddy, when Neil does concentrate so much on lyrics? Is it, even though you've been around for years, you've been playing for years and so on, is it like do you get kind of this is really putting it sophomorically, a kind of a thrill to be able to do something that you don't normally do all the time?
Yeah, it is. It's something that lyrics don't come easy with me. I mean, bad lyrics come very easy with me. So I like to really take a lot of time.
There's not a lot of people who've been around as long as you that could admit that, but I think that's good.
You know, so when I can get something together that I'm pleased with, it is a big thing for me. You know? The last time I had any lyric on the album was 2112, and the same kind of tune. I have a tendency to write these soft, sort of eerie ballads. And, that's what this tune is. It's a different kind of tune for us again, using a lot of different kind of sounds. And there is grand piano in this tune, which is the first time piano was made it on the album.
Who's playing grand piano here?
Hugh Syme, who
Yes.
does our album covers and used to play keyboards with Ian Thomas Band. He's featured on as special guest artist on this tune.
Does that happen with you often? Do you ever?
No, he's the only person who's ever appeared on our albums besides
He was on
us.
2112 too, wasn't it?
He was on Tears on 2112, which is the other tune that I did lyrics for.
Here we have Different Strings from Permanent Waves. Here's Rush from CHUM-FM.
Who's come to slay the dragon? Come to watch him fall, making arrows out of pointed words, giant killers at the call. Too much fuss and bother, too much contradiction and confusion. Peel away the mystery misery. Here's a clue to some real motivation. All there really is, the two of us, and we both know why we've come along. Nothing to explain, it's a part of us, to be found within a song. What happened to our innocence? Did it go out of style? Along with our naivete, no longer a child. Different eyes see different things, different hearts beat on different strings. But there are times for you and me when all such things agree. All there really is, the two of us, and we both know why we've come along. Nothing to explain, it's a part of us, to be found within a song.
CHUM-FM and the world premiere of Permanent Waves, the newest LP by Rush. We'll continue with the final tune on the album in just a moment. We're back with the conclusion of the world premiere of the new Rush album, Permanent Waves, which will be in the... We should get this out first of all. When's this going to be in the stores, Ged?
It's going to be in, I think, January 9th.
Which would be Tuesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So it's not far away at all. Okay, we're about to wrap it up with the final tune on the LP, the second of the extended pieces.
Yeah.
This was the only one on the album that you had to work up kind of out of nowhere.
On the spot.
On
Yeah.
the spot, yeah.
We wrote this in the studio. We had some other ideas for other tunes that were going to make it on the album at the last minute. For one reason or other, they didn't make it.
What was this, the Gawain,
Oh, yes.
from King, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight? What's this all about?
Well, that's a little tale that might make its way onto a future album, but we started working on that, and we wrote some music for it, and the lyrics were complete for it, but the mood of the tune was very Renaissance and just didn't seem to fit the feel of this album. So we decided that, especially Brune decided that we should put it on the shelf for a while. So we did, and in its place came Natural Science.
Now, this is one where Neil had to sit down and for a few days...
While we were doing overdubs, yeah, Neil was back at the house writing lyrics, and he didn't get anything for the first couple of days, and then finally, boom, this started coming, and he brought it in, and we the music for it came rather quickly, which was comprised of little pieces of music that we had sitting around. Some were written on the spot and others weren't, but some pieces of it we had been saving for a while from different things.
Geddy, do you purposely leave a particular track such as this we're about to hear for the last song? I mean,
oh yeah, definitely. When you have these kind of
when hemispheres,
bombastic extravaganzas,
yeah,
you really can't put those in the middle of an album or beginning of a
when
song.
Hemispheres ended, I really thought we'd almost see Hemispheres 2, just the way it ended. I mean, you left it open to be continued, if indeed you wanted to. I'm just wondering if, when you're sitting down writing and you've planned the album and mapped it out, whether that you intentionally open and close LPs ahead of time for certain reasons.
Well, certain tunes just seem to be saying, I want to close the album or I want to open the album. Spirit of Radio was right from the first time we wrote it, right from the very beginning, just was sort of saying, yes, this has got to open the album. It had a real positive feel to it. And when this tune came along, after we finally saw it all put together, and we realized that, yeah, this is the one that's got to end the album. It has a very interesting opening, actually. Most of the opening of this was recorded outdoors. And there's all kinds of very bizarre echoes. It's an acoustic guitar and a voice that we set a speaker outside the studio and pumped the sounds after we record them out into the lake, and they're rebounding off the lake and the mountains. And we had 2 mics down by the shore that were picking up the echo as it rebounded.
So it's as natural an echo as you could ever hope to get.
It's totally natural echo, which was kind of a lot of fun to do. And there's Alex and Neil were out there moving. Like there's all kinds of little rivulets of water oozing by, and that's Neil and Alex sitting down there with oars in a boat, moving the water, so it was just moving in the right way. It was really neat, a lot of fun to do that.
This tune is called Natural Science, and it's in 3 movements. The first called Tide Pools, and the second is Hyperspace, and the third is Permanent Waves, the title of the album itself.
This has been great.
How do they all tie together here?
Well, it's kind of something you have to sit down and get into. It's nothing I can really, put.
It's one of those you have to sit down with the lyric sheet and
sure, I can't
and
put
your
it
headphones on.
in a couple minutes. I can't really tell you what that's about.
Geddy, I've noticed during this interview and chat, that even though I know there's a lot of heavy meanings and complexities to the music of Rush, do you sometimes worry about getting too analytical about your own work? Does it bother you?
Well,
Dylan used to be like that years ago. Don't talk to me about it. I just wondered if sometimes with you that you say, look, it stands on its own.
Well, it's gotten to the point where, it's really not right. And when you look at a painting by someone, there's not an explanation beside it, saying I painted this painting about this and about that. That's sort of the pleasure of listening to music, is listening to it and interpreting it in your own way. And a successful piece of music will have all kinds of different meanings open, and that's what we try to put across in our music. So for me to sit down and explain it, it's sort of not right.
Before we hear this last piece, I have to say, I know you and Rick have done this before. It's really a pleasure to let you guys allow me to join you on this. This is a lot of fun.
That's great.
It's great.
Yeah,
Well,
cheers.
it's a pleasure for me to be a part of it.
One more toast.
One more toast.
One more toast.
Before we wrap
Clink.
it up here.
All right.
To champagne.
Yes. to Mr. Mum.
And music
Mr.
from
Mum.
Rush.
Okay, final tune on the album now. Permanent Waves is the title of the album. It's the world premiere you're listening to right now, and the final tune, Natural Science from CHUM-FM.
a kind of mirror to reflect upon our own. All the busy little creatures chasing out their destinies, living in the pools they soon forget about the sea. In a spiral array, our patterns are grand and complex. Time after time we lose sight of the way our causes can't see their effects. A quantum leap forward in time and in space. The universe learned to expand. And the magic, triumphant and tragic, unrecognized world out of hand.
104 CHUM-FM, finishing up the world premiere of the new Rush album, Permanent Waves. This has been Rick Ringer with John Donabie while he was here a moment ago, and our very special guest, Geddy Lee. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
It's very nice for you to give this to us once again so we can continue this wonderful tradition.
Yes, it's fun to be here again.
Okay,
With you, Rish.
to cap it, to wrap it up once more, the album will be in the stores Tuesday or Wednesday, probably? Okay.
Yep.
You're heading out on tour out east to start with, what, a couple weeks, did you say?
Yeah, probably in about a week and a half or so we start the tour out east.
Right.
And wind our way through the United States and the world.
How about Toronto?
There's no Toronto date set yet. I don't know when we'll be doing Toronto next.
Okay. Fair enough. You didn't, that last little bit of tidal wave there was not made at the little lake at Le Studio, was it? No?
No, it's a little, the lake's a little small for that kind of
Right.
wave to happen.
Okay, the last song, by the way, was called Natural Science with Tide Pools, Hyperspace, and Permanent Waves, which is the title of the new Rush LP that we've just given its official send-off, bottles of champagne and all. Thank you once again, Geddy, for joining us tonight. And
Thank you.
Good luck with the tour and with the album.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
Have been together since the early 70s and have grown from a Willowdale basement band to one of the biggest names in Canadian music today. Virtually every album they release goes platinum. Critical acclaim has also been good, with Juno Awards to their credit. Earlier this month, Rush released their 8th album, Permanent Waves, destined to be their biggest release yet. More and more AM radio is realizing the popularity of this band, and it's reflected in their new single, Spirit of Radio. This is a sound check at Hamilton's Iberwin Stadium, where this past summer fans first heard the new Rush material. This is the first time they've toured with their new songs, honed them down, then gone into the studio to record.
We had time to write it and rehearse it and work on it prior to recording, which we usually don't. We usually go into the studio and we have some ideas and some songs prepared, but for the most part it's get it together, rehearse it, arrange it, and then record it straight away.
We have the time now because of so many years of working like crazy, on past things.
We decided with Hemispheres too that next album we'd like to do more of a Farewell to Kings type album with 6 or 7 separate things. And as it happened, that's the way the ideas came out too. Sometimes you can plan one thing, but if you have a certain type of ideas, then you're going to follow those rather than go by a preconceived pattern.
I think also because of the fact that Hemispheres took so long to do and took so much out of us, and it was really a draining album to do, that, you know, it was sort of enough. And sort of taking that conceptual thing to its limit for the time being. And we all felt that we'd like to work on shorter pieces and something that wouldn't be that involved.
Why did you choose to get out of an urban centre to do it? Were you looking for something, or was it just because it was nice?
Just a place that we could stay in and work through the day and, you know, be there over an extended period of time. It's difficult to do in the city, really, unless you drive in and out every day, and that kind of takes the isolation out of it.
Well, unlike some hard rock groups, we don't need to be in the flash and swing of the city to put out an up-tempo or high-energy album.
I don't think that atmosphere really affects the music either in a way. It just gives you more concentration. There's nothing to distract you, so you can get about what you wanted to do in the first place, which is, for us, creating high-energy music. So it doesn't really matter if we're in the middle of a sheep field, if we have the time and the isolation to be able to do.
Besides, Flesherton is just a wild place.
It's pretty wild.
Raging.
We had lots of fields and stuff where Alex could fly his airplane in.
The most intelligent cows.
Yeah, I understand your airplane was a big feature.
Big thing. Tell us a bit about your airplane, Alex.
What can I say? There were a series of horrible crashes, followed by a series of horrible crashes. And some horrible repairs and some more horrible crashes. And I dreamt last night that I was flying in my model airplane. And ducks were following me, and little girls were flying in the air.
How big is your little model airplane?
Oh, it's small. It's got about a 3-foot wingspan. It's a little foam Cessna with knives sticking out the front.
How come you're such a terrible pilot?
Well, I do it for the guys, you know, so they get a kick. We get a kick out of it.
There's some new technical effects on this album. You had a new interface machine. What does that do?
Well, what it does is, here's my big unit right here. What it does is it enables me to trigger my gigantic synthesizer with my feet. And they're very large feet, I might add. So I get very loud sounds. And it enables me to keep playing things on my bass and to have a little more intricate string arrangements and that I will be able to reproduce live. So it extends the flexibility of the band. It's extremely as far as that goes.
Is there anything on this album that you won't be able to reproduce live?
The grand piano, the guy that does our covers, called Hugh. He was out at the studio working on some photographs, and while he was there, we got him to play grand piano on one track.
The whole music industry is going primitive, new wave, minimal rock and roll. Do you care?
It is. I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. What do you think?
It is.
I don't think it is.
We don't think that it is.
There's certainly some bands that have gone back to basics kind of thing, but those are the bands that can't do anything but play basics. But all the really interesting new wave bands seem to be developing and progressing into more interesting styles. And I wouldn't say that Talking Heads, for instance, were one of the major new wave acts. I don't think they're minimalistic at all. They're quite subtly complex.
And the new Bruton Rats album too, the production of it and the music is very progressive, very complicated arrangements and all kinds of subtle effects in it and stuff. It's just the same thing we were doing a few years ago, you know, it's just a different period.
Yeah, it's definitely a positive thing, I feel. It's really giving, adding a spark to what was becoming a complacent industry.
When you first started out, the Canadian music industry didn't have time for you. And now you're the biggest rock and roll band in Canada. Do you feel bitter about that? Or how do you feel about it?
Just you have to say, I think it feels good to be right. Other than that, there's no resentment or bitterness.
So, I don't care.
Who cares about those fools?
Give me another drink.
I think it's kind of petty to dwell on it. It was just the way the industry was at the time. You know. I mean, it wasn't any different for any other band that was playing at the time. You know, we just happened to be very fortunate and to have a management company that could push us in another direction when when Canada said no, and the United States said yes. So, I mean, every musician working in Canada has experienced the same thing for sure. It's just the way the industry was at the time in this country.
You have a reputation for encouraging younger bands. Are there any young bands at the moment under your wing, as it were?
Good. Well, good.
Well, we've taken a lot of Canadian bands on the road with us. We've taken Max Webster on the road with us. We've taken April Wine on the road with us. Various groups. And recently, I've produced an album by a local band called Wireless.
What's the plug? His book is coming out.
This is a plug for a Wireless album. They've been friends of mine for a long time, and it just came up the opportunity to help them out in the studio, so I did. So, from that point of view, we help other bands, I guess.
I understand your road crew is a band in its own right.
Yes, the fabulous Projectors. Watch for them.
In your store soon.
Coming to your town.
Yeah, they recorded a record while we were recording our record. They recorded it on a little cassette player, and we bumped it up into 24 track and fixed it up a bit. Sounds cool.
Great. You guys share the same management company as Max Webster, but your relationship, it goes a little beyond that. I understand you're all mates.
Yeah. We worked with him a lot, done so many shows with Max across Canada and in the States as well, and in Europe last time they came over with us. So we become just like old friends.
Are they any good at volleyball?
Yeah,
they are. Real good.
He's hot. Yeah,
He came up to the studio and played with us one night, and pretty hot players.
Got a mean serve.
Yes, Paul's got an excellent overhand serve. Quite different from the rest of us.
Yeah.
He's also an underhand. He's got the slap, the overhand.
You did what every young Canadian basement band dreams of. I mean, you actually did it. You got out of the basement, and now you're, one of the world's major headliners, all that kind of stuff. How far do you feel from those kind of kids now?
That's a hard question. It's hard to gauge that,
It's like saying, how far do I feel from myself when I was 18? A long way, obviously. Still the same in some ways.
We definitely try to keep in mind who we play for and why we're playing. I think as long as we maintain the idea and remember why we're here, then we're very much in tune with those people.
A lot of times we make a decision based on how we would feel at the time when we were 17 or 18 in a film of a band.
Yeah, we're still fans too. I mean, there's still bands that we go crazy over, and still lots of concerts that we like to go see, and so I think there's quite a point of relation to that.